by Shop G&O for the following season, everybody. Make sure you're checking out their brand new website launching on the 5th of May. If you sign up and become part of the members club, it's a £25 membership club, absolutely free, everybody. You can only get it through One Leeds. Competitive rates across the site as well. Better than Amazon, Vinted, and eBay. Make sure you check out Shop G&O. It is an e-commerce site which is tailored for all of your needs. Also, everybody, we are sponsored by Job Match Group. Talking about tailoring, make sure you check out this. It's got very specific job needs tailored to all of your every single needs. Make sure you check it out, everybody. Launching on the 6th of May. Well worth it. Finally, we're sponsored by the lads at Match Bingo. £2 per card, £5 for the price of 4. Get involved every match day, everybody. The QR code is in the corner. And let's get into the show, shall we? Well, morning, everybody. How the diddly are you doing? I hope you're all doing fantastically well. My name is Conor McGilligan. This is the One Leeds fan channel. I've got a hat on because I've got a bad hair day. Welcome one, welcome all. I hope you're all doing really, really well this Monday. What have you been up to at the weekend? We're back with your daily edition of the Rumour Mill. We will be back this evening as well, everybody, on the Conor McGilligan channel. Link in the description below for the watch along between Sheffield United and Bristol City with my good friend Joe from Turfcast. We'll be over there if you fancy jumping along. And if you fancy watching the Sheffield United game, we'll be doing the same as well. The Sunderland Coventry tomorrow night. So fill your boots with the last editions, really, this season of the watch-alongs, including the playoff final, of course. And how are you all doing? Good to see a lot of you in the building this morning. John's in the building. Hiya, John. Morning. James is here. Hiya, James. Seeing all the regulars this morning. Rad's here as well. Morning, all. Morning, fellow Leeds lovers, and morning, pretty boy Con. Hello, my friend. Morning, everybody. Morning, all. Hi, Alan. I hope all's good, buddy. Can see everybody in here. Amanda's in here as well. Hi, Amanda. Tom's in here. Mike's in here. Flipping heck. It's flying in. Stephen become obviously is a member. Welcome to you, Stephen, as well. So Giles here as well. Leeds United Fan Network seeing you as well, buddy. Holy Ghost, Lee Todd's in the building, buddy. Okay, well, we'll get on to some of the rumours this morning. Before we get into it, everybody, do us a favour, just slap a like on the video. It just means that these videos are worth it for myself. It means that my videos are ranked a little bit higher on the algorithm as well. It does me an absolute solid. I don't normally ask you guys too heavily on a 35-minute stream, but if you do us a solid, that's absolutely fantastic for myself. So I wanted to do something in particular that spoke to maybe a few of you guys about PSR. And we'll start off with this because I know there's a lot of people who maybe don't understand it. And it took me a while to understand it as well, if I'm honest with you. You get the aficionados in the chat, and fair play to you guys. But I wanted to just break it down for you guys because I know there's a lot of comments on my previous video when we're talking about PSR, and I was trying to figure out strategies around it. I think we managed to do that pretty well. That video's done pretty well as well. You'll be able to see that in the video section of One Leeds, not the live section. But I think the PSR threshold being explained is really important because under the PSR thresholds this season, it basically determines what Leeds United can spend without making any exits, without making any transfers out. So clubs can obviously lose up to 105 million, everybody, over a rolling 3-year period, okay, without penalties. But the limit changes dependent what league you are playing in. This is my teacher side coming out right now. So the Premier League allows up to 35 million quid in losses. The Championship allows up to 13 million pound losses per season. So this is per season. 35 million per season, 13 million per season. So since Leeds United have spent 1 year in the Premier League, 35 million, and 2 seasons in the Championship, 13 million, 13 million. Leeds' total loss limit is 61 million quid. Okay? So it's almost like you're having you're saving for a big trip for 3 years, right? you've got a high-paid job, and you can spend more. Okay, that's us being in the Premier League. Then you get a lower paid job, okay? And you got to add to this big saving budget to go to Canada, to go to New Zealand, to go to wherever, afar. And you put in a little bit less in per those 3 years that you're saving up for that big trip. So Leeds' total spending is now a lot smaller than maybe some, because obviously of those two annual 13 million quid years. So the budget is a little bit further down for that. So that's just a little bit of an explanation anyway, just a basic one, the most basic one you can find, because I know a lot of people in my video were saying, Conor, I don't really get it, I don't really understand it, or they might be saying thanks for explaining it. So basically Leeds have got to find out ways. They're going to have to sell players. We all know that. Willie Gnonto is one that I think is probably going to leave. Maybe Pascal Struijk, Matteo Joseph, and Matteo Joseph will come under pure profit as well, because obviously he was in the academy, but Leeds United bred him effectively into the system, so he will be part of the academy. So that is categorized as pure profit, as Archie Gray was, pure profit. So yeah, we just need to bear this in mind when it comes to it. So this is probably going to happen. So it's not going to be any stark reality to anyone when these sorts of things start to happen when it comes to PSR, which is it's rubbish. It's pathetic how it works, and how on earth isn't it more money nailed on your PSR when you've been in the Premier League? It's an absolute joke. Hey up, Conor lad. Hate mornings. Glad you've come on. Shout to you, bud. Good morning to all. Hold on, let me just get rid of that. So let's talk about. There's a lot of you guys talking about Kalvin Phillips this morning. Interestingly, there's not been. What do you think about Phillips wanting to come back to us? So this wasn't on the list. So I'll start off with this. Morning, Kershaw. I'll start off with Kalvin Phillips. Phillips is an interesting one for me. The reason I've not really spoken about Kalvin Phillips so far is because he comes up consistently. And I've not got his stats ready today, but we will speak about him. We'll get his stats up now. And I think it's important to note with Kalvin that there is some context to be applied to him. So these are Kalvin's stats for this season. Okay. Morning, pal. How's it going in there? On the Leeds bros in the chat. Shout out to the boys. Kalvin Phillips. Okay, so these are his stats this season. So 1,239 minutes played, 19 appearances. I've spoken to a couple of Ipswich fans about Kalvin Phillips, and they've said he's got better towards the end of the season, but it's been a very meh signing. So I think the only way you could ever facilitate bringing Kalvin Phillips into Leeds would be a loan, and would be as a third, fourth midfielder. That's kind of how I'd look at it. That is kind of how I'd look at it when it comes to Phillips. There's no way he's a starter for Leeds United. We can get a lot better, and especially with the aims and objectives of the club, bringing someone in like Kalvin Phillips, who's nearing 30 now. He's riddled with injuries. We know this. He wasn't a mainstay at Leeds. And if we're honest, we can do better. I think we can do a lot better than Kalvin Phillips. I actually like Jens Kjust, who came in. We were linked with Kjust at Ipswich for a while when Bielsa was in charge. Apparently he liked him. That didn't quite come to fruition. But obviously he went to Ipswich. I thought it was a really good signing. But Kalvin Phillips, I was always I think Kalvin lives on his reputation a little bit. And, we had to cultivate that reputation. But, the West Ham loan, the Ipswich loan, it's just not quite worked for him. And I don't think it's quite working for him at all, because I think there's a conversation right now as to whether or not he's a Premier League player, if I'm being brutally honest. I think it's kind of got to that level now. Alessandro says, difficult balancing act. Gnonto would make the jump to Prem standard. Selling him is great against PSR. Would allow you one or two in the permanently in a quality loan. There is that, mate. There's also a conversation whether or not that could allow you probably 3 or 4. Kershaw says he's on big money at City. Not sure how long he has left on his deal. Loan as squad player would be okay. Herbinder says, hi, Conor. Is there any way we can do a Chelsea model and add some creative way accounting, such as buying some players and splitting the payments out with a load and obligation to buy in other ways? There is a way we can do that, but I think the smartest way of doing it, Herbinder, I should say, is working around smarter ways in terms of, sponsorship. Maybe there is ways of doing this. Player trading is obviously a numero uno in terms of like players through the academy. That's how you generate the most income against PSR. It's generating income through the academy because it's pure profit. That goes against the accounts. We saw that with Archie Gray. when you're trying to enhance commercial activities, that's another really, really prudent way of bigging your numbers up against PSR. Increasing match day revenues will help Leeds United with that as well, of course. But I think exploring new sponsorship opportunities at the training ground, at the ground, is definitely ways of which Parag's spoken about it before. And I think that's where the opportunities are going to be viable through income and obviously providing a little bit more flexibility. I think they're the prudent ways of which I think Leeds are going to do that, to be honest with you. But yeah, so for me, Kalvin is a big no. Kalvin is a big no. I wouldn't be doing that, but I can understand. Yeah, PSR is a joke. You are completely right, mate. It's an abomination, to be honest with you. So yeah, I completely understand people getting a little bit frustrated with that. But Kalvin, for me, everyone is not one I would be looking at. Not at all. Okay, let's talk about this guy who could be and has actually played with Kalvin Phillips this season. And you guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. This is what this is all about, of course. When we do these, I want to get your guys' thoughts on the transfers. This is a little bit, we've always done these sorts of things, and I've wanted to get your guys' thoughts on why you want certain players in, and if you think they're going to be effective, price-wise and stuff. And this is another guy, Omari Hutchinson. So this guy, yeah, we're going to get into that loss, don't worry, towards the back end. We're going to be speaking about Manor Solomon towards the end as well. It doesn't look like it's maybe as clear as what we thought it once was when it comes to Solomon, so wait until the end of the video. This is a guy who, for me, is a very, very, very decent player. I like Hutchinson. His stats are incredible in the Premier League. It is his first full season in the Premier League, really. I would say he is Ipswich's most marketable asset, up there with Liam Delap. Can play off the right, can play off the left. But he's a very, very very nimble, very quick player. He was exceptional in the Championship. Obviously, he's a Chelsea product, and they've utilised him. Obviously, they bought him for, I think, 20-25 million last season for their Premier League move, Ipswich off Chelsea. But I like him. I like him a lot. I do really, really like Hutchinson. I do wonder, though, with the wingers that we've got, this is where PSR is going to come in, you see. So, obviously, with Leeds maybe getting rid of Anonto, which I do not want to happen. I think Anonto should be starting for Leeds in the Premier League. But if Leeds are to get rid of a Willian Anonto, this is kind of the way you work around it. You've got to go and buy someone who maybe replicates some of the same tendencies, attributes, standards that Willian Anonto upholds on the pitch. We do have to remember as well, Willian Anonto in the Premier League, albeit he was a big influence, huge influence on Leeds winning free kicks. Opponents doubling up on him, so it meant there was space for players like Crysencio Somerville in the Premier League, winning free kicks, getting Leeds further up the pitch. His numbers weren't unbelievable in the Premier League, Willian Anonto. Do I actually think he's developed as a Premier League, as a football player? 100%. The time we were in the Premier League, he was 18, 19. He's 21 now. So do I think Willian Anonto's developed based on his trajectory, based on, what we've seen of him this season, even though it's not been the standard of which we thought it would be? I would counterpoint that with, I don't think he's had enough minutes to develop. Same with the likes of Largi Ramazani. I do think Willian Anonto is would be an excellent fit for Leeds United in the Premier League, Omari Hutchinson, I still think, is a Premier League player. Now, the issue with Omari Hutchinson is Ipswich have actually, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, have set a £35 million release clause. Hutchinson is only 21 years of age, but I do look at this one and think it would be an expensive outlay for Leeds United. An expensive outlay for Leeds United. So I think we'd have to be careful with this one as well. Morning, Con. Hope you're good, fella. Not for me in regards to Kalvin Phillips. His best days are behind him. Omari Hutchinson would be a great signing for me personally. I think there will be better available, says Paul Dunn. Conor, you can understand, says Peter, why the three promoted teams automatically go down due to PSR restrictions. Exactly, Peter. And if you are to go up, Peter, when it comes to PSR, and you, let's say, Sunderland, you haven't got those Premier League. We were allowed 35 million quid worth of losses because it's been rolling on from the Premier League as well. If Sunderland were to go up, Bristol City were to go up, for examples, they wouldn't be allowed that sort of bracket as well. Conor, do you think the 100 million net spend or pure expenditure? It's a good question, mate. It's a good question. You'd hope it's pure expenditure, wouldn't you? You'd hope it's pure expenditure, but I can't give you a sort of a knowledgeable answer on that, mate. I'm not sure. It'd purely be guesswork for me. Why is no one talking about keeping Rothwell? Because it's not going to happen, mate. That's why. Kershaw says, PSR is a joke when Villa have to sell a player despite all the money they've got. Exactly, mate. Exactly. And that continues as well. So that's something we're going to have to face in the Premier League for many years if we are to maintain our status, of course. So interesting about Omari Hutchinson anyway. Now, this is a one who there might be some Celtic fans in here, actually. I know there's a lot of Leeds fans who veer on Scottish football. I know there is, obviously, we've got a big sort of Northern Irish contingent who watch the channel as well. And I know some veer on Rangers and some veer on Celtic. I know the only Leeds bros are in the chat as well. I know you lads are the exact same. And I know a lot of you guys are. So you might be able to actually inform me a little bit more on this guy. But Maeda is the next one who has been rumoured this morning. Leeds United now. Maeda can play on the left. He's traditionally a forward, but he can play on the left. He can play anywhere in the front four. It said that Celtic would want around 25 million for Maeda, 16 goals in the SPL. But crucially, I wanted to get his Champions League stats up as well, because a lot of us translate that a little bit more to the Premier League. But obviously, an international teammate of our favourite son, Altanaka. And, it's one of those where if you've got someone as versatile as Maeda, someone who's very, very impressive, the Celtic fans love him. Could he transition into the Premier League? We've seen the likes of O'Reilly, who was at Celtic, who was transitioned into the Premier League really nicely. Matt O'Reilly, we were obviously interested in him not long ago. He chose Celtic, and he's looked lovely up there. I think he's looked really, really nice. I was watching him even yesterday for Brighton, flipping it, just his ability on the ball, how he slaloms through the midfield. What an addition he'd have been, Matt O'Reilly, for Leeds United. But he's transitioned into the Premier League really nicely. Could someone like Maeda do that? And a lot of you guys will let us know in the comment section below. A lot of you guys will probably watch the SPL a little bit more than me, but his stats look decent for the SPL, as I've said, but the transitional model that we'd look at to go from, there to the Premier League for me would veer a little bit more on the Champions League, because we know how high the Premier League is. Maeda is a must. Carl says, sorry, Conor, but you could do with a professional voiceover, mate. What do you mean, Carl? What do you mean, Carl? Are you saying the mic's not good? What are you saying? I don't understand what that means, mate. But the day I see Maeda in a Leeds shirt, oh my, there's a lot of people here. Interesting. Massive gamble, but we're on a tight budget. We need a proven striker with a bit of height and experience. Chris Woods, there's no way, Adam. He's got 20 goals this season, mate. But yeah, a lot of people really liking this one. Apart from Econ. Econ says, however, I wouldn't have Maeda as a 9, though. Would have to be on the wing. He's a workhorse, never stops clinical. Also, 20 million would probably do it. And Kershaw says the last time we had a player come from Celtic, it was Viduka. Indeed. And you guys let me know as well. Like the video. I've wanted to do if I was to build this Leeds United squad for a little bit of fun, I've got my own list. Would you want to see that? Because I can do that as a separate video, but I didn't think it'd get many views, because I don't know if you guys will be that interested, because I know you love the rumor mills. So I would do that I would replace the rumor mill for one day and do my signings. If you'd be interested in that, make sure you like the video. I'd really appreciate that. And as I say, if you fancy seeing that. Jay says, morning, everyone. Wherever we go, we have to get business done early. Don't let others jump on our targets. Need to have the majority of them done in the start of pre-season. Yep, I agree with that, man. Morning, Conor. Regarding the goalkeeper situation, I'd like Kelleher, but I think 30 to 40 million is too much for him. I think I prefer Ramsdale or Pope, who would cost less, you would think. Do you know what? I'd probably, Robert, if I'm looking at either of those, I'd probably think Kelleher would probably be the best option. I don't think that's an out. But then I look at Nick Pope. I really, really like Nick Pope, and an outstanding save again yesterday. An outstanding save yesterday, and once again they're looking to move him on. It looks like they're going to be bringing in Trafford from Burnley. Could Nick Pope be an option for Leeds United if we're being highly ambitious? And then you're looking at Nick Pope at Leeds United for many, many, many years, aren't you? Many years. I'd have Nick Pope over Ramsdale 100%, mate. 100%. Sam Johnston for me is not the one. But let's move on. Shall we? So Leeds are linked, and this guy doesn't really have a stats page, but I will get his stats up. obviously because he's absolutely, you know, effectively unknown when it comes to the European circuit. But we'll get his no, we won't ignore that. But the next player that we're gonna speak about is Orlando Gil. Now, the Paraguayan goalkeeper has been playing for San Lorenzo in Argentina. He's had 17 matches, 11 conceded with 9 clean sheets. Now, don't know that much about him, I have to say. I am going to let you guys know about my goalkeeper pick, of which I would go for just in a sec. But if we were to bring Orlando Gil in, it looks like he would be the number 2 from reports that have been sort of spoken about today. We'll get a little image of. I don't enjoy sharing it that much on different platforms here, but I do want to get you guys a little bit of an image of Orlando Gil. But we are effectively battling Fulham for his signature, according to some reports. But he is a little bit inexperienced. Would Leeds be able to get him over Fulham? That is a completely different question, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't look like that one would be something that Leeds will be able to get done if we're to go up against Fulham for an obvious statement, really, there, everyone. But let me just try get a... Oh, this isn't happening. It's absolute nightmare right now. But yeah, this isn't happening. But we'll get this. There you go. Orlando Gil. Okay, this is the guy that we're apparently looking at. Yep, can't profess to know that much about him, everybody. But like I say, 17 matches, 11 conceded in the Argentinian league, 9 clean sheets. We'll bring him in as number 2 because of his lack of experience. But of course, because he's playing in the Argentinian league as well, which, you know, you need to acclimatize a little bit better to the, you know, the Premier League. I think you need a little bit of time to do that, of course. Now, this is the lad that I will be looking at. Now, I don't know if we have any player stats on him here from the data pack that we use, but this is, and it's not going to provide me, I doubt, but this is the guy, at least, that I wanted to speak about today. So, David Soria, or David Soria. Now, this is a guy who I've been keeping an eye on now for a season. Very much reminds me of Joel Robles, but on a very different level. 32, I believe 32, 33 years of age, so a bit of experience, a similar age to Sam Johnston, of which we spoke about on the last Rumour Mill. 6'3", has been outstanding. Nearly won the Zamora Trophy this season, which is obviously, you know, in La Liga, it's one of the best goalkeeper trophies. It's, you know, the Golden Glove, etc. Outstanding goalkeeper this season for Getafe, has been outstanding. His contract expires in 2026. Excellent with his feet, a big presence, standing at 6'3", and he is someone 100% who would be attainable for Leeds United. His contract, his level in La Liga, Leeds a better proposition than Getafe? Yes, we are. As Premier League Leeds United, we just are. That is just facts, unfortunately. It doesn't matter what really Getafe do in La Liga. It might sound a little bit arrogant, but Leeds United in the Premier League is a massive draw. This guy, I mean, as I say, guys, I'm going to do my... I will do it if you guys want me to do it, but I will do my picks for the Premier League. Apparently, Daniel Farker said we need at least 6, so I will do 6 players of which I think we should go in for. This will be my goalkeeper. David Soria looks absolutely unbelievable in La Liga this season, and is someone who has got a bit of experience. The conversation is, what do you do? Do you go down the experience route or do you go down the inexperience route? You do both for me. You go down the experience and the inexperience. One who is going to be potential, one who is going to be a little bit of experience but can acclimatize straight away, knows the top level, and for me can just slot straight into a team, can be experienced, can be a leader, can replicate all those things that we saw with Carl Darlow as well. Carl Darlow brought in experience, he brought in that leadership, but also he's a good keeper as well. This guy's next level. This guy is next level. So for me, with his contract once again expiring in 2026, I think getting someone like that with an inexperienced protege coming up as well. You know, we spoke about Orlando Gil there in the Argentinian league for San Lorenzo. If he was to come in, maybe he's the person who learns off Soria. Now, we've not had this before. We've not had a goalkeeper, really, who, like Meslier, who learns off an experienced goalkeeper. We've spoken about bits before when it's come to Robles, when it's come to Darlow, but the synergy's not really been there. You need 2 goalkeepers to come in who are going to be able to acclimatize to the Premier League when it comes to potential, but they're also going to be able to acclimatize to the Premier League immediately anyway, and they're going to be able to use the feet. They're going to be Very, very good at claiming from corners. They're going to be vocal. They're going to be a leader. Everything that Sawyer is. He would be an excellent, excellent addition for Leeds United. He's better than Pope. He's very, very good. I'd rather have Pope. The only thing is, Ollie, when it comes to transfer, I don't think this guy's going to be that much. I think Getafe are going to look to get Soria some good money for him. Obviously, with this contract expiring next year, they're going to look. This could be the last summer, really, where because of his levels this year and because of his contract running out next year, this is probably the best time of which they can get decent money for him. We know what's happening with Nick Pope, of course, but how high is it going to be when it comes to the wages of Pope? And is that going to be a consideration for Leeds? Because this guy's going to be significantly cheaper and has achieved a hell of a lot in La Liga this season. The only keepers that I can think that have impressed me more than him have been maybe Oblak and Courtois. Any other La Liga keeper, I don't think has been better than him this season. So it looks like that is a real level of which Leeds can level up 100% or elevate, I should say, not level up after I've said level already. Okay, let's get on to the next rumor that is surrounding the Whites at this moment in time. And this is interesting. We've spoken about this guy 1 billion times. 1 billion times on, on the room mill. James McAtee. Now, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think on this geezer. Now, McAtee, we've spoken about 1 billion times on this channel. It looks like this is going to be the season he moves on. We thought it'd be last season. We thought it'd be the season before. But it looks like this is going to be the season 100% where James McAtee moves on. Now, according to Court Offside this morning, Leeds have actually prepared documents. And I know one of you guys were talking about that a little bit earlier in the comment section, but apparently Leeds have actually prepared documents for James McAtee and have sent them off. Now, what I will say to that is it's just a rumor. That is a publication Caught Offside, which, you know, have got stuff wrong in the past. We all know that. But 25 million quid, 22 years of age, has played in the Premier League, as we can see this season, 15 appearances. Not all have been starts, of course. 3 goals. McAtee's a joke. McAtee is a beautiful football player, okay? The mini David Silva. Not as good as David Silva, of course, but it hasn't worked for him. Now, there are West Ham, Crystal Palace, and others apparently in for him. But apparently Leeds United, interestingly enough, have prepared documents. So what do you guys think of this? Well, there's no need for me to elaborate on James McAtee. I've spoken about him so many times. Can play across the 3 in behind the striker, but invariably he's a number 10, okay? Or a number 8 in the Premier League, if you want to look at it that way, because I think number 10 is outdated and is sort of like not a position that's taken up anymore. I think he is just an advanced state with a lot of innovativeness and creativity. Very good player. Kingy says, McAtee is a no. Sam Stein is the answer. Good name. Failing that, Rodrigo Moores, Konstantinos Karastas, I should say. Sorry, mate. I was reading that very minimally. Averages 10 plus clean sheet in La Liga in the last 5-6 seasons. Look at the team as well, mate. He's been playing for, Mike. Look at the team he's been playing for when we're talking about our man in net, David Soria. Thank God you said James McAtee, not Ryan Kent. George says no. Interesting. I don't know who that was for, mate. Will be a cracking signing for you lot. Miles Svila, Noah Atubolu, Justin Bijlo for keeper. Fair enough, mate. Can't profess to know any of those. Alessandro says absolute gem, would be a fantastic signing, but no chance he moves to Leeds from City. Pep's now raving about him. It'll be huge money as homegrown quote. I think that's a really sensible comment there, mate. Looks like apparently they are going to be letting him go. So I don't know how they're going to work around that homegrown quota. Maybe there's another player that's going to be coming in. Morgan Gibbs White. But yeah, that maybe wangled in a deal as well. Conor, there's a right back in Brazil called Wesley who plays for Flamengo, 21 years old, and looked like a right player with high potential. I think he could be a Bogle replacement in the future. Good little knowledge there, Henry. I like that, mate. We can prepare all we want, send him everything, but ultimately when we're up against Palace and they can show what they've done with Waterman, we're going to get blown away. I think that's a good comment as well, mate. That's a good comment as well. But what I would say, is there is an attractiveness with Leeds. There really is. And there's also some serious ambition with Leeds, I think. And Palace, it's not like Palace don't have this ambition. I mean, I watched them against Tottenham Hotspur and Palace are an extremely good side. By the way, that's who we're going to be facing. It's a sort of mid-Premier League side. That's who we're going to be facing with Maeda, Eze, Wharton, Ismail Assar. These are the teams that we're going to... The Premier League is going to be long, everyone. It's going to be a long, long season. However, we get recruitment right. We get it 10 out of 10. And I think we've got a really good chance. Do you know what I watched? I watched Fulham Everton, okay? I watched Fulham Everton the other day. And I thought that, I mean, Fulham have lost, 2 on the bounce now at Craven Cottage, which they've not done in about 25 years under Silva. But I looked at them and I thought that was almost a bit of a Bielsa performance when it came to Everton. I know it sounds ridiculous because it wasn't as like free flowing, but it was just pure counter attack. Maybe it's because Jack Harrison was on the pitch. I was thinking Bielsa, but Fulham were just not getting past their rear guard. And it very much reminded me of when we beat West Brom 5-0 in the Premier League, where they just couldn't get past Leeds' rear guard with attack, a few sort of meek and mild attacks, and Leeds just blast them on the counter attack. And Everton were doing that every single time. I look at Everton's forward line. Okay, now at the back, I know they're strong. Okay, Jordan Pickford's one of the outstanding goalkeepers. This is why keepers are so important. Jared Branthwaite is a very good defender. O'Brien, I really highly rate. I mean, aside, on the right hand side, it's Ashley Young. The greatest of respect, but Ashley Young, And then you got Mikalenko. But I look at Everton going forward and I see Beto, who we've spoken about on the channel, who might be a target for a newly promoted side. That's kind of the level that we're talking about in terms of Leeds United. Jack Harrison, who would be our 5th winger. You go a little bit further forward and you might be talking about, Dwight McNeil, with the greatest of respect. But I'm kind of looking at it and I'm thinking, you've got obviously Carly Alcaraz up there as well. And I'm like, I see Dan James, Ramazani, Willy Gnonto, Joel Peru as a technical option up top. Solomon, if we're able to get him. Is it that far away? Is it that far away from that front four that Everton have got? I just think if we can shore it up at the back, we can have runners in the midfield. Decore was outstanding at the weekend, by the way. Outstanding at the weekend. In that midfield, it's not exceptional for Everton, but they're just so rigid and so strong and they're so structured. It works, and it has worked. That Everton team isn't that good. Moyes is doing a really good job. But I genuinely believe if we're to come up against some sides, and we all think we're going to get battered, if we set up in such a structured, adapted, pragmatic, and we're pragmatic through the game and through the season, Leeds can blast teams on the counter-attack. I'm certain of it. I'm absolutely certain of it. James says, good morning, Conor. Thank you for all the hard work you put into the channel. It's been a pleasure to watch this season. Really come on, especially over the season. Thank you so much, James. I really appreciate that, buddy. Really lovely comment. Sell the vision, guaranteed minutes in Premier League football. Can see us getting a cam, GK, and striker ASAP, especially for pre-season. Everton's squad is absolutely what. No reason why we can't stay in the league above. And that's kind of where I'm at, mate. That's kind of where I'm at, really. Like I look at, and Everton were the better team, by the way. They were the better team against Fulham, but it was just counter-attack to counter-attack to counter-attack. And I'm looking at it and thinking, we can do this. We can do this. And this is what I was saying. This was my argument to Gabe. If Leeds go out and get a centre forward who can genuinely replicate Maeda. He's the one I always come back to, Maeda. And I'm going to get into my transfer targets in a video either tomorrow or the day after. I'm going to get into it and you guys will see who I've gone for. But Mateda's attributes, very similar to Liam Delap at Ipswich. Imagine those two with our attack. Supplemented by Joel Peru, who we've seen this season, by the way, has come on for 25 minutes and contributed in those last minutes. Cardiff, a classic example, away from home, when they're tired and his technical ability comes to the fore, and he finds himself in positions of which he can put the ball into the back of the net. Peru will be able to do that. I think he'll get 6 goals in the Prem. So I kind of look at it and I think if we do that with the team that we've got now going forward, I think we'd be fine. I honestly think we'd be fine. But I don't think it's going to happen like that. We're not going to get I don't think we will. We might, but I don't think we're going to get a striker on the same level as Liam Delap and Maeda. I don't think we will. But if we were, and we struck gold, I don't think you'd have to do that much going forward. Genuinely, I don't. Because I think our wingers and the standard and the level, as long as we don't sell Willy Gnonto with that sort of profile going forward, who can get you maybe 11, 12 goals in the Premier League, supplemented by Peru, massive. Absolutely massive. I agree, Conor. Sorry, mate. I agree, Conor. Why this isn't coming up? There we go. I agree, Conor. We just have to be strong mentality as the quality is not far off on Everton. Chris says, the problem is we have Farker as a manager. This will stop us recruiting top players and holding us back from developing players. I disagree with that in a sense, Kingy, because, you know, if you kind of look at the style of play that Leeds have played at points this season, the counter-attack is still on. You know, and Leeds have got a decent clean sheet ratio this season. The defense have conceded we've conceded less chances than Burnley. But the difference between Burnley and Leeds is James Trafford. That's the difference. So I think when we go up to the Premier League, we improve the goalkeeper, which I think we will do. We go up, we improve the defense. You know, we spoke about Jacobijol maybe coming in. We've spoken about others. You know, Alvedi, who've played at Mönchengladbach, who Farker apparently really likes. Players of that ilk, that's going to improve Leeds' defence as well. And there's a constant there with the likes of Rodon and Bogle. And hopefully Bogle's then got competition as well. So I think Leeds defensively will be okay. I think they'll make that priority number one. But I think because I think going forward, we're actually okay right now. And we're talking about the midfield. We're already seeing Ampadu and Altanaka as starting midfielders in the Premier League. So that's kind of where I'm at, really. Right. Let's speak finally about the main man. All right. And this is where I want you guys to get your thoughts in the comment section below. And before we move on, everybody, please do me a favor. We've got 1,300 of you in here this morning. And I'd really appreciate it if you could do me a solid. And I don't know why it's not showing. Yeah, it will. Right. We're good. We're good. If you would do me a solid, everybody, please like the video. It does me massive favors. And if you want to join us later on, I'm going live with Joe from Turfcast doing the Bristol City Sunderland game. And we'll be doing a little review after the game as well. But we are going to be doing that on the Conor McGilligan channel, which the link will be in the description below for that. That is my other channel. Right, we're going to figure it out, and we're going to end it on this guy. So reports over the weekend. Now, I'll just take a sip of coffee. Now, reports over the weekend slightly concerned me with this. And I did follow it up with someone who I used to work with, who will remain nameless, but is a decent name in the publication world. Asked him about Mano. Asked him about Levy and what's going to happen. And it was a very simple response. You know what Levy's like. Then the next response was likely bidding war. Okay, so I didn't get much from him, but likely bidding war was the response. So, Manor Solomon, Leeds apparently are looking, according to reports that I was reading a little bit earlier on, I think it was via the Sunday Mirror, was that Leeds United are looking to spend 15 million quid on Manor Solomon, okay? Which you guys let me know in the comment section below whether or not that's too little, too much, what you would spend on him. Apparently, Levy, from going at a stage at the early point this season of talking about 15 million, has now increased it to 20. And apparently there is Everton in the mix. Apparently there is Crystal Palace having a little bit of a look at him. And obviously what we do know for definite is Marseille looking at him as well. De Zerbi's done an unbelievable job at Marseille. They've finished second. They're in the Champions League spots. De Zerbi has turned it around there, and they've seen it as a massive, massive success. And that's what they are trying to lure players like Manor Solomon in, because they want to keep that constant success with the manager, the boardroom, and obviously the increased talent on the pitch. Manor Solomon's played in the Champions League before. He's one of the outstanding players for Shakhtar before Spurs bought him. Manor Solomon is going to be a prized asset. Is going to be a prized asset this season. So can Leeds get him? Well, I guess the encouragement that we have with someone like Solomon is the fact that his girlfriend apparently encouraged him to come to Leeds. And the big factor is, everybody, as well, Leeds United in the Championship beat Ajax. We beat Ajax to Manor Solomon signing over that weekend, where it was very, very quiet. Leeds had to go up in terms of wages. I know people don't like, for whatever reason, me telling you about Solomon's wages. That is Solomon's wages. You don't have to agree with it, but I've said it on multiple videos. I won't say it again. He was on extremely good wages at Leeds United, where Leeds were paying the majority of it. So it was a big risk with his injury record, but it was worth it in the end, of course. So Solomon, we beat Ajax to his signing, okay? Albeit alone. I've got a sneaky feeling Leeds get him on loan again. Sneaky feeling. I don't know if we're going to buy him, because it's worked again. It works in everybody's favour. You know, could Spurs for the next season again ask for a better fee. They could see him acclimatized potentially in the Premier League, could see him playing more minutes in the Premier League, and could think, right, we're going to keep him, because the reason they bought him was because of his high ceiling from obviously the Champions League circuit. I've got a feeling we get him on loan. And I think that works for everybody. That'd work for Leeds massively, as Kershaw says, with an obligation. I think this is how this is going to end. I think the price is probably going to get a little bit higher. I'm not sure. Does any club go and buy Manor Solomon? There's too much of a risk, I think, for the likes of Everton, maybe Palace. I don't know about Marseille. Marseille might chuck money at it, but we know via Solomon's girlfriend that she wants to stay in England. The kids are enrolled in school down in London. They love it. They love England. That is a big thing in football. Footballers, of course. I've got a feeling we get him with a loan with an obligation option to buy whatever, and he's able to commute from Leeds to London. This extends again. It's good for both parties. Spurs might be able to get even more for him next season if they do want to sell him or whatever. They might even want to keep him. So there might not be an obligation. There might be an option, which might not work for Leeds. So I think this is what's been spoken about now. If Leeds are to get him on loan again, I don't mind it. You forget we did that with Jack Harrison, didn't we, for a couple of seasons as well? So, yeah. I don't mind that at all, to be honest with you. And obviously it helps us when it comes to financially outlaying on players as well. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comment section below with that. Marseille are in talks with Solomon. Yeah, Jord, but if Marseille are in talks with Solomon, we're definitely in talks with Solomon as well. You know, you got to think, just because publications are saying, oh, Marseille are further ahead, doesn't mean they are, mate. Guaranteed Leeds are in talks with Spurs right now about Manor Solomon, 100%. Solomon got to be a buy obligation with no guarantees of playing time. I would do 20 million for Manor all day long. Fun fact, Manor's girlfriend family live in Leeds. There you go. Solomon, issue with loan is we can't play him against Spuds, who should be aiming to take points off us. Buy is better. Yeah, Mike, I'm not sure I'd buy him just on that level, mate. But you could be right. You know that if that's 6 points, that's what could keep Leeds United up. And we know how bad Spuds have been this season. Shout out to Danny. Can we get Millsy's put this in as well? Thank you so much, Millsy. I've just seen this, buddy. Best Leeds fan channel around. On to next season. Cheers, buddy. Steve, I know, is a member as well for 16 months. And shout out to Danny Cook, who again has given. Can we get a thank you to Danny as well? Danny's in here gifting memberships all the time. Shout out to Danny. Top man. Loan feels more sensible. Loan feels more sensible. It does indeed. Yeah. Spurs put Solomon on loan and we've helped increase his value. We continue to play melee instead of loaning him. Values of peanuts go figure. Yeah, it's a bit strange, wasn't it? Jimmy says we should be looking for 10 to 15 for lots of players. Then you just need one, two to turn 40 million and then repeat. Yeah, if only it was that easy, mate. Oiper says 12 to 15 million for max for Solomon. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, 100%. Well, I guess we'll leave it there, everybody. This has been nearly 45 minutes. I don't want to drone on too long on this because I want you to get your information. So what I'll do is I'll go on to the video after this, and this is what I'll do in the future. I will chapter where we've spoken about certain things. If you guys want to watch the full thing, that's amazing for me. It helps with my watch time and the engagement, and hopefully you enjoy it anyway. But what I will do is I'll chapter the videos. If you've just joined, so you can skip to Solomon chat, or you can skip to LA chat if we've spoken about him, or Bamford or whatever. But yeah, I'll do that for you guys. I'll do that after the video. But thank you so much for tuning in. As I say, there's 1,400 of you on all platforms. Please make sure if you are on YouTube, or if you're not on YouTube, think about coming over because it's delayed. You don't get the subscription benefits as well by being on Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you tune in over YouTube as well. Really appreciate you coming along. Hopefully these are going to be something you enjoy. And we're doing these at 10 o'clock every single morning. The rumor mill is back, everyone, in full swing. If you get it, you get it. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you tonight with Turfcast Joe on the second channel for the watch on. It's been a pleasure, everyone. See you in a bit. Cheers.